Is silver really going to the moon? Is silver really going to skyrocket? I know we're all kind of guilty of these clickbaity titles here on YouTube as creators. So you do those titles so you get a click and hopefully people actually enjoy the content. But it's first getting that initial click so you see those clickbaity titles. I'm guilty of it and I see it all over YouTube. Let's actually talk about silver in a more realistic approach. Silver I've always considered to be like my bank account. My bank account that is not, how would I say it? My bank account that keeps my ice cube frozen. If I'm looking at my savings as an ice cube, the bank account that keeps my ice cube frozen and accumulates more ice on that cube. Instead of just letting it sit in a bank where I don't have access to my funds, I have to beg them for my money when I want my money, to go down to them, ask for it. If I want to get it out of there, I have to deal with a wire transfer, whatever it is. And on top of it, I'm giving them a free loan and giving them more power. That's what it comes down to for me. When you give the bank your capital, you're giving them your power. You're giving them a free loan for pennies, not even a penny on the dollar, fractions of a penny on the dollar. They won't even give us an interest rate to compensate for inflation. I just recently said that on my Twitter. It's an idea worth sharing is, what if the banks actually paid an interest rate that compensates for the inflation that they helped create? Wouldn't that be an interesting thing? Anyway, let's get back to silver. I see silver as a savings, and realistically, let's look at the yearly chart real quick. The yearly chart on silver is right here. We were at just under 18 a year ago. So here is the 1 year chart on silver. And eventually I'll be better at using the computer and actually pull it up I'll get better with the graphics and stuff. But for now, I'm just going to show it on my phone. Not too shabby. Not too shabby from under 18. If you go a little bit further than that, silver was actually down right at the beginning of the shutdown and everything. We were down to 12 at one point. Now the premiums were pretty high when it was down at 12, but at 18, what's odd as a dealer, the premiums at 18 was nothing like the premiums I'm seeing up here at 27, 28. I didn't see $5 premiums, $6, $7, $8 premiums. For Silver Eagles, I've seen them all the way up there at 36 to 38. So you're talking a big, big premium on silver. Wow, it's gotten a pretty strong gain. So you have an extra gain on top of the gain. And a lot of people aren't taking that into consideration. But what's weird is back at 18, I remember being able to get silver for $1 over, 50 cents over. It was actually not that big of a premium. Now, when it had fallen down to 12, there was a big premium there where it jumped it up to like 15, 16 when it was at 12. But so you couldn't really catch a falling knife, so to speak, with silver, because there's always been that premium attached to it. If silver has a random drop, there's a premium on top of it because people don't want to sell it. They're going, wait. You're saying my silver's worth that, but that doesn't mean I'm going to sell my silver for that. I'm not going to sell this 100-ounce silver bar for that. And yes, I have a 100-ounce silver bar here. No, I haven't gotten rid of my 1,000-ounce bars. I just didn't feel like breaking my back bringing it out today. But what I wanted to get across in this video is, would you have rather say you had an extra $10,000 to invest? Would you have rather had that $10,000 in silver, or would you have rather had it sitting in a savings account? What were your options on where to park that money? To me, silver was a sure thing in my mind. It's not a sure thing, and my videos are not to be taken as financial advice. Not a financial advisor, disclaimer, but if you're looking at it from when I was looking at silver down in the teens, I was thinking to myself, this is a guarantee. And it's not, but in my mind, that's how I felt. Whereas if I had taken that capital, if I put it in stocks, if I went YOLO to stock, there might have been a way better return than silver. But in my mind, it didn't have the same type of feel. It didn't have the same type of guarantee. So it's not guaranteed again, but that was the way I looked at it. I didn't want to leave that capital sitting in a bank to just melt away. I look at the dollar like it's an ice cube. So if I have $100,000, I look at it as $100,000 is 100,000 worth of ice cubes, and it's every single day melting, and there's no freezer at the bank. silver to me is a freezer that compounds the ice cube, and the ice cube grows and has a snowball effect to it, because you have something that is, it's deflationary in a way. The dollar is inflationary, where you can buy less stuff with it in the future. With silver, I can now buy more with this 100-ounce silver bar than I was able to a year ago. A year ago, this 100-ounce silver bar here was around 1850, 1900. Now, this 100-ounce silver bar is somewhere, well above 30 with the premium added to it. So what would you have rather done? Would you have rather left that 1850 in a bank account, or would you rather have it here? Because now when gas has now jumped up over $4 a gallon where I'm at, I would rather have my money parked here, because this actually compensates for that inflation that happened there, because it can buy more. It's a deflationary type asset. That's the way I look at silver. So is silver going to skyrocket? Can it be short squeezed? Can we see silver just overnight get to 100? It's hard for me to say no, because the obvious answer is no. But I happen to think in my mind that we're in a very interesting time right now, that I think when we see Bitcoin, for example, they have very close market caps. Bitcoin and silver are like neck and neck with their market cap. Silver's somewhere around that 1.2, 1.4 trillion range. We don't know the exact number with silver, and Bitcoin has been dancing with that 800 billion, 700 billion, 1.2 trillion. It's like in this range, and so they're pretty close. And look what happened with Bitcoin. We had to go all the way to 60 some odd thousand, and it was able to pull all the way back down to 30,000 like in less than a week. So when you talk about the ability for money to shift around when there's a lot of hype around it, I mean, look at what happened with Bitcoin. So do I think that type of interest could go into silver with everything happening? Yeah, I do. I think that there could be a movement around silver, and I could see silver actually being squeezed. It just would be more of a short, it would be like a long duration of the squeeze. It wouldn't be like an overnight thing where it just skyrockets overnight. I think it would be more of a long-term approach, where you start seeing days where silver's up $1, $2, $3 in a day, where you'd see silver go from 27 to 32, let's say. That's, to me, is what a short squeeze silver to the moon type approach is. And I wanted to make this video to be a little bit more rational about it, because we see all these titles and I'm guilty of these titles. So I wanted to be able to kind of simplify it for, getting this information out in a way that's not just hype and trying to get views and all of that. Do I think silver could go up tremendously? Yeah. I think my price target on silver, just off the top of my head, is somewhere in the hundreds. I think in the next 5 years, silver could easily get over 100. That's giving myself a lot of cushion. I know, but I just wanted to put a conservative estimate out there. But to me, a short squeeze on silver is something that gets it up to that 75 or 100 range, well over 50, let's say. And right now, you're seeing silver at 27. So what bank account is going to give you that kind of return? Very few. Bitcoin is something that I am very bullish on, and I believe in the future of Bitcoin, but I also couldn't sleep at night if I didn't have anything tangible. So I'm a little bit different than a lot of the Bitcoin maximalists. If I'm in crypto, if I'm in digital money, so to speak, or digital asset rather, I'm in Bitcoin. If I'm in a tangible, I like my collectibles as well. Don't get me wrong on that. But if I'm in a tangible, I want silver. I want silver, I want platinum, I want palladium, but silver is always number one to me, because silver is where where I sleep well at night. And I know that my money is a protection against inflation and hyperinflation. That's how I look at silver. And could silver get squeezed? Personally, I think so. Based on how much fluctuation that we're seeing in Bitcoin's market cap, from Bitcoin's market cap to go from roughly 1.2 trillion and cut in half down to 600 billion, and then recover from there to 700, 800 billion, you see how many hundreds of billions can move around if there's enough traction behind it. And this is all because of, you can't say it's all because of Elon Musk's tweet, but it definitely had a big thing to do with it. So in a blink of an eye, a lot of people can get behind something. And why not silver? Silver is such a great place to park the money. It's the industrial precious metal. It's the only monetary metal that's also an industrial precious metal. They say platinum isn't a monetary metal, although when you look at a platinum eagle, it's got a $100 denomination in American currency. So it kind of is a monetary metal, even though people say it's not a monetary metal. Anyway, I like to stick with the industrial monetary metals. That's where I like to park my money as my bank account. I know it's there. I have access to this money. I don't have to go to any bank to ask for my over $3,000 bar. I just got it right here on my desk and I got it in my hand. That's why I like silver. I have access to it and it is on hand. And as far as I can tell, it's had a great return from 18 to 28, $10 in a year. Now, what happens when the inflation actually really kicks in? Now, this is speculation. It's not anything for certain, like everything I say on this channel. But what happens if inflation does kick in and we start seeing some very serious hyperinflation? Would you want that money sitting in a bank somewhere? What happens if the stock market corrects and the dollar corrects at the same time? In that scenario, that's what I personally see happening. That should be the last thing I talk about in this video. I know sometimes I have the tendency to rant, but I hope that there's some information that is worth your time in these videos. I want to start doing some more shorter clips, so I'm going to start doing 10, 15-minute clips here on the channel. What happens if you're in, let's say, the S&P 500, right? Or you're in individual stocks and the stock market corrects dramatically. But at the same time, and we're seeing some major volatility in the dollar, I haven't seen the dollar move in 50 cents in a day like this, the way that it has been. It dropped to like 89 and change, and then now it's back up to $90.50 on the dollar index. So the dollar is pretty volatile right now, which is interesting. What happens if the dollar corrects from all this money printing? And other currencies don't value the dollar the same way, and we see that dollar index correct and go down to 80, let's say, or 75. What a lot of us overlook is that then our actual dollars that we value the stocks in drop 25%. So if the dollar index falls to 75, let's say, and loses 25% or 20%, on top of your loss in the stock, you would get another loss because the currency that the stock is valued in depreciated as well. So that's a very scary scenario. And in that scenario, it would take more dollars to buy silver and gold. It would take more dollars, not less. The dollar is an inflationary currency, not a deflationary currency. This is a deflationary asset. That's how I look at it. This will buy more stuff in the future. The dollar will buy less. And in the situation that I think could happen, I mean, look at the stock market. Look at things like AMC. Look at what's going on. You got stocks that are just wildly overvalued. You got people just joking around, YOLOing their money into the stock market. That's a recipe for disaster. That's what I'm scared about. So what would they do if the stock market just started correcting? See, right now when there's the FOMO going on, you're going, oh yeah, I'm going to get in this AMC craze, or I'm going to get into this, and that. What happens when we see a day where the stock market corrects 1,000? People start thinking different in the blink of an eye. Do you want to be ahead of that, or do you want to be gambling for that not to happen? Because based on the numbers that I'm seeing, price to earnings ratios don't even exist. We're just buying collectibles in the stock market at this point. Just saying, yeah, I got some AMC collectibles. How many AMC collectibles do you have? Well, I got 1,500 AMC collectibles. How many do you have? Oh, I got 2,000 AMC collectibles. I'm referring to stock. And what did AMC just do? They're announcing another stock offering. So they're diluting the shares on top of the already wildly diluted dollar that the shares are valued in. Its dilution doubled. And on top of that, the stock itself is wildly overvalued. So this recipe that's going on in the stock market is a recipe for disaster. The stock market corrects, and on top of that, the dollar corrects. You got a double whammy, and that double whammy would leave money running for the hills into safe haven assets like silver. What does that do to the comex? What does that do to all of these ETFs? All of that money that gets sold off in the stock market, maybe they go and they dump it in PSLV. Maybe they go and they take it out of the stock market and they put that cash into silver, into the physical silver. That's my thesis. And I'm going to go over that in more detail in future videos. But in this one, I just kind of wanted to rationalize my approach for silver and how I think it could start moving in a very serious way. I know my estimates were very conservative in this video, but I wouldn't be surprised to see silver get over 50 an ounce within the next year. That wouldn't surprise me. The all-time high of silver in 2011 was 48 roughly. This is in 2011. You can pull up the chart. So it's actually astounding to me that gold reached a new all-time high, but silver didn't. We're going through this new Green Deal. We're going to the renewable energy. That's been all of the craze in the Bitcoin world, is getting to renewable energy. You need silver for renewable energy. For solar panels, for all the electronics, you need silver. So why would that make gold go to an all-time high but not silver? Silver got left out, and it's starting to get some momentum. We often don't, you don't see the small steps sometimes. You have to look back the full year and see that chart that I showed earlier in the video and see that silver actually was at 18 a year ago, and less than that just a little bit after that. I was sitting there at that 15, 16 range for a little while. It's had a pretty strong gain. But again, the all-time high for silver, just like the all-time high on gold, I believe was in 2011 as well, somewhere around I think it was like 1950, and then it broke that. So it broke well over 2000 and went to a new all-time high in 2020, at the end of 2020, I believe. Now we're seeing gold start to trickle back up, and it's back around that 1900 range, and silver is up at that 27 range. But I think that we could see new all-time highs. I mean, look at what the money supply was in 2011 versus how much money is out there today. The environment that we're in today is literally the perfect scenario for precious metals to skyrocket. Yet they haven't yet. Yet, in my opinion. Disclaimer. I get comments all the time like, oh, we get it, man. You're not a financial advisor. You said disclaimer 15 times in the video. Just want to really make sure you know. But that's the video. Thank you all so much for watching. Again, I hope this information is valuable to you. I hope it rationalizes the silver to the moon approach. But again, I haven't seen this kind of community growing around silver. This is the first time we have this big community growing around silver. And at the same time, it's the perfect case scenario for silver. So I got my money where my mouth is when it comes to silver. Today, I didn't feel like breaking my back and pulling out my my heavier bars. Maybe I'll do that for a live stream later. Who knows? But I really do believe in silver quite a bit. And what happened here, because I believe in both Bitcoin and silver. And I do this thing where I say, it's the end of the video. Let me talk for another 3 minutes. And people call me out for that in the comments as well. You can call me out again in the comments as well if you want. But please also put your opinions down below. Things that I might have missed out on in these videos. Again, I shoot these videos in one take, so I ramble a little bit, but that's just my style of doing these videos, mainly because I don't feel like getting an editor. Maybe at some point I will. From now, it's just me doing these videos rambling. But to get back to that Bitcoin point, and then I will end the video, is when Bitcoin pulled back to 30,000, if you were in silver, you were up on your silver because it's more of a slow appreciation with silver. Bitcoin is that volatile, crazy monster in a way. If you're in silver, you could have traded that silver for the Bitcoin when Bitcoin was lower. And I took advantage of that myself. So it was the perfect case scenario to be in the tangible and the digital at the same time, because Bitcoin is starting to get to a level where it looks real interesting here. And I'm one of the unique people that believes in both silver and Bitcoin. Bitcoin, not as much as silver, but I think that it's foolish to go all in on Bitcoin, and it's equally foolish to have no Bitcoin. So just to throw that in with this video, I think that they're the perfect case scenario, having both of them. And that's where I am personally right now. I am in no stocks as of right now, 0 stocks. That's how many stocks I have, because I think my thesis, what I talked about earlier, is that the stock market corrects, and at the same time, the dollar corrects, takes more dollars to buy assets like silver, like Bitcoin. You want to be in a deflationary asset when the dollar corrects. Thank you so much for watching. Would really appreciate it if you smash that like button. If you got some value from these videos, it really does help a lot. I don't ask for anything. I don't have any Patreon to sign up for or anything like that. But if you smash the like button, it really does help. So I really would appreciate it if you did that. Please do subscribe to the channel if you would like to be part of the community here. Would love to have you. See you at the next video. Signing out.